Good morning. Just swallowed a fly, so it's excuse me. Good morning. It's September. It's harvest time. It's wine time. It's also decision time. Either I do the 20 kilometres slow uphill into a block headwind, or I do the 2 nasty climbs that'll keep me out of the wind. But if I do that, there's then a really boring, slow downhill return. So I think we're going to go slow uphill, boring, and then do a couple of really nice descents instead. So today we're going to Gandesa, which is the capital of the Terra Alta wine growing region, because I know it's harvest time, because quite excitingly at our farm we've just picked our first ever batch of grapes. So we've got a mixture of Garnacha Negra, which is Grenache, and Carignana, which is Carignan grapes, and it's the same mix as they use for the extremely posh Chateauneuf de Pape wine from France. I don't think ours is going to be quite as noble as that, but if we get some cheap plonk out of it, I'll be quite happy. So I've got my fingers crossed that the cooperative in Gandesa will be open and we'll be able to see the farmers bringing their crop of grapes in. So I don't quite know what we're going to see today, but we'll find out. Unfortunately, it's just started to rain, and it makes me a little bit nervous about being out and about if it gets to be a true thunderstorm, because we had one a few days ago, and to the north of us 11 centimetre hail fell from the sky. It actually killed a young toddler and injured 7 others. Massive damage to cars and houses, roofs, etc. I don't really want to get caught out in that. So sadly, though there is a tradition of winemaking in the Terra Alta for over 1,000 years, they're not making any today. But I might as well tell you about the cooperative that formed here in Gandesa. It formed in 1901 as a result of the phylloxera plague. It's a bug that attacks vine roots, eats them, and it completely killed every vine in this area. So bearing in mind it's a 1,000-year tradition, it would have been 900 years of tradition then, and it meant that there was no work for people, and so people started to leave. So 48 families decided to band together, and they put their properties and their bodies into this cooperative, and with it they were able to mortgage their land to get enough of a loan to start buying American rootstock, which they then grafted local vines onto. And the American roots are resistant. The phylloxeras don't really like it that much. They have a nibble, but it doesn't kill the plant. And by 1919, they'd made enough to actually commission Cesar Martinet, who is a disciple of Antonio Gaudi, who was the architect for the Sagrada Familia in Barcelona, and he designed this place, and he oversaw the work as the farmers built it. They built that. It's very impressive. And the cooperative started doing very well, and it grew from 48 families to over 700 just before the Spanish Civil War, and they started doing other buildings and other crops. So this one behind me, they built. They didn't use Martinet for this one, they designed and built it themselves. And this one is, or was, for processing olive oil and almonds. Unfortunately, the Spanish Civil War had much of the same effect as the phylloxera, in that there was just no population left. A lot of the men had left and gone to fight and had been killed, because this was the scene of some of the worst fighting in the entire war during the Battle of the Ebro in 1938. But possibly worse, because Gandesa and its environs were Republican. There were purges of Reds, communists, or even anyone who once knew one, or it was a terrible situation where neighbour was grassing up neighbour. So what the cooperative did is that they just changed marketing, and they made a vermouth in a tiny little bottle, and they sold them cheap, and they managed to save themselves that way just by changing the product for a bit. But today there are 150 partners in the cooperative. Between them they have 400 hectares of vines, which make 1.5 million tons of grapes every year. And now all we have to do is get over one horrible col, and then we've got two glorious, fast, swoopy descents and a medieval castle, before we get absolutely smashed to bits by grapefruit-sized hail. Easy. Ew. And there's a lovely, one of my favourite descents now. It's a pedalling descent though, so if you want to do a PB, you've got to go for it. Not in the mood today. Oh, come on. fine a backdrop as you could wish for. And I'll use it to say goodbye to you for this week. Hopefully there'll be some good news next week as well, because our goats are due. So we should have some little kids running around. So it might be a really short video next week if all the kids come. It might be a video of the kids. We can forget about cycling for a week. Yeah, let's do that. Anyway, hopefully that'll be the happy video for next week. And until then, thanks for watching.